All right, just doing a quick update on the non-commutative um, ghost waves, what Einstein called ghost waves, but they're called empty waves. And there's a new paper out based on the Bohmian model. It's comparing David Bohm's and Basil J. Hiley with Louis de Broglie, and also classical Maxwell physics. And it cites the Einstein's reference to what he called ghost waves, because the waves exist in a quantum configuration space that's just mathematical, with no energy or momentum with particle mass, and yet these ghost waves have an effect. And so technically, as Basil J. Hiley points out, they cannot be called a force, and yet it's a proven fact that these ghost waves do affect the particles. And so they're called information waves or empty waves. And this is what Basil J. Hiley considers to be a newly discovered force. And this paper I just read the author calls it the empty wave effect, and says that this empty wave effect will be the key factor for quantum communications technologies at a minimum. And Basil J. Hiley has said that this empty wave effect can be used for new types of energy. Now, why is that? Because Professor Basil J. Hiley is using the non-commutativity, which actually is hinted at in the John Bell inequality test that just received the Nobel Prize in physics this year, because the quantum configuration space is a discrete space, and it's because it's non-commutative with position and momentum. It's also a non-equilibrium, and the standard interpretation of the Bohmian model, the de Broglie-Bohm model, is assuming that the measurement causes a collapse of the wave function at equilibrium in statistics. And so with the equilibrium in statistics, you apply the Born's principle as the density, the reduced density matrix for the amplitude squared for the location of the particle. But since in the non-commutativity approach, Professor Basil J. Hiley says there's no reason to have any collapse of the wave function. And in non-commutativity, the discrete empty waves can then resonate into the macro level. And this is the secret of alchemical meditation, is these empty waves, the ghost waves. And so this is also why the non-equilibrium is also negative entropy as the secret of life. The negentropy that Nobel physicist Roger Penrose points out is due to the Broglie-Einstein principle, showing that that mass originates from the photon, from frequency, and therefore the negative entropy is due to a time-reversed negative frequency signal. And this signal is the empty wave that, or ghost wave, that is an information wave that's discrete and non-commutative. And this is the secret of the non-Western music as relativistic quantum biology. And what David Bohm emphasized is that this unifies with relativity as long as you have a preferred rest frame. And in my recent correspondence with Professor Tim Maudlin, he says this is how he's trying to justify the retrocausal time reverse signal without having a closed time loop paradox, is by having a preferred rest frame. And what the preferred rest frame is in meditation is the spiritual ego of turning the light around at the speed of light. So the light is maintained as the invariance, but the light inherently has gravitational mass. And so the difference between the de Broglie and the Bohm model is that de Broglie was assuming a single photon for the pilot wave, whereas Bohm was pointing out that as soon as you have two photons that are entangled, then you can't have a equivalence with the Maxwellian classical physics. So this falsifies, or it refutes the de Broglie model. And de Broglie, this paper on the ghost waves is pointing out that Louis de Broglie he could not accept non-locality as a configuration mathematical space of n dimensions, infinite dimensions, and rather he was trying to maintain a local model based on a 3D plus one physically real space with in line with Einstein, based on the wave particle duality. And so the Bohm model is showing that there's no ether, there's no physical pilot wave, but rather there's this discrete non-commutative time frequency process that's inherently non-local as the empty waves. So even to call them waves is paradoxical because there's no medium that they're waving in. And they also have the future and the past overlapping. And this also explains the delayed choice experiment. And I give the science citations with quotes and references in my latest blog post. And so we're still waiting on Professor Basil J. Hiley's latest paper that'll be a commentary on Fields Medal math professor Alon Kahn's non-commutativity talk. to the physicists on the origin of quantum randomness. And so rather than assuming just a stochastic model that has an equilibrium limit at the measurement, in the non-commutativity model, the non-equilibrium can resonate to the macro scale as a negentropy that is also an anti-gravity force due to the unification of relativity from this time reverse signal with quantum physics based on the information wave or empty wave effect. So I didn't even notice the author's name of this new paper. It came out in 2022. I think it just recently got published this January. So I will link the paper in the description of this video, along with my blog link. And I look forward to of course, they're focused on technology, but I'm focused on the explanation of the paranormal in meditation, and how you have to go to the most cutting edge science to understand meditation properly. And so this empty wave effect very much corroborates the truth of non-locality in meditation. Okay, thanks.